Hey, I have your presentation from what you sent. So, okay, I'll pull it up as well. All right.
Sorry, I feel like I have a desk here.
No, you're fine.
Oh,
No more?
Can I switch over? Back, am I good to switch now?
That's better.
just wait, okay.
Switch like that. Do what?
Sorry if I'm not, just set it.
Oh, okay. Recording. Oh, not at all. Discussion.
So we like to call a meeting to order. Are we ready, Mac, or shall we wait a few minutes?
We are ready, yes. Oh, I get that off of there.
He's got his dog picture.
I don't know. It won't leave the screen.
Puppy love.
I know.
Thank you. We would like to welcome today to our commission meeting is 11:18. March 18, 2025. And sorry for starting late, but we had a meeting that went a little bit over time. So thank you for being here. So we'll have a roll call. Commissioner
Commissioner Mon here.
Commissioner Harvey here.
and myself here. We have a full quorum, and we'll have do we have a volunteer to say an opening prayer?
I'll do it, Commissioner.
Okay, Commissioner Harvey will do it. Thank you.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're so grateful to Thee. We're grateful for the moisture that Thou give us. Thankful for the strength and wisdom that Thou give us, and we're grateful for our leaders, Heavenly Father. We pray that Thou may bless our meeting today, that we may be able to make good decisions. Father, please bless our county administrator and our employees. And Father, we pray that their lives are blessed and that they are able to complete the jobs that they need to do for our community and our citizens in our county. Help us to be an effective county with the best interest of our citizens at heart, Heavenly Father. Help us to be receptive to the needs of our public, of our community. Help us to be open-minded, to think of the entire county, even back home. Father, help us to continue to grow, to be able to find resources that benefit our community. Help us to get the things we need, Heavenly Father. And we're so grateful for the strength that Thou givest us. We say these things humbly. In the name of Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Would you stand up and join us on the pledge? And we'll have Duncan Lyman Duncan help us.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioners, did you have a chance to look at the agenda, and do you have any conflict of interest to disclose?
I don't have any.
No conflict for me, Commissioner. Thank you.
I don't have none either, so we'll turn the time to Matt for the public comment.
Okay, so on today's public comment period, we have 4 that have signed up that are in the audience who are wishing to make a public comment. First one we have, and just a reminder, you have 3 minutes to make your public comments. This isn't a time for the commissioners. It's not a question and answer forum. This is just the opportunity for the commissioners to hear from the public itself. So don't expect answers from the commissioners on there. They have their own liberty to ask questions and things like that. But just with that being stated, with the 4, as you approach the podium here, just state your name and where you reside in the county as well. I'll also call you out on name as well. So we'll take the audience members first that are here, and then we'll turn the time over to anybody that's online wishing to make a public comment as well. So with that being said, our first public comment, we have Tara Benali. Welcome, Tara.
Yate. My name is Tarbana Lein Shenle Torai de Kambi Gato Enasha. The United Kiligi ADA accessibility had not been the shield Nishnaki Nakina Haidan need that not benata. Did neg echeriash tigi been in Nagin later and should net us a United Killing. So hi, my name is Tara Benali, and I just want to ask about the ADA accessibility that was supposed to happen at the chapters, and just wondering where the status of that is.
Do you want me to answer?
Yeah.
So we have a contractor that's out going to be performing that work, but because it involved construction and concrete,
Mhm.
they wanted to wait until warmer weather before they do that. And so we have it all agreed upon from the Navajo Nation. We'll be working with the chapters and everything on the start date.
Okay, thank you. That was one of the things that I had started on when I left two years ago. Went down to Arizona last year and was back this year. Now I just want to find out where
Okay,
that was
that's
at.
it.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, the next one I got TC Garcia.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thanks for the time. TC Garcia, LaSalle, Utah. Just wanted to speak briefly about the proposed water project in LaSalle. So I heard there was a ask for letters of support, that the deadline for that was Friday, and I totally missed it. So I thought I'd show up here today and just chat with you folks face to face. Generally, I want to let you know I'm in favor of a water project and helping our community out. However, the devil is oftentimes the details of these kind of things, right? And I have had a heck of a time trying to find details on this project, like the whys and the hows and the consequences of the current wells that folks use in LaSalle. So it's probably a me problem. I've tried the Google machine with very little luck to dig out those details. So I'm also hoping today to maybe get some guidance on where to find that, and not for a question and answer session, but I might hit you up later afterwards. Okay. I think that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll send it to you, TC. Okay, the next one on here is Eliza Cowie. Eliza.
No problem.
Hi, my name's Eliza Cowie. I actually live in Salt Lake City, but was supposed to staff Mr. Ron Dunn from Congressman Kennedy's office today. He was unable to make it down from their Provo office due to the storm and Price Canyon. And so I just wanted to let you know he left you all a voicemail saying his regrets, but he wanted to let you all know that their office is working on a public letter of support for a $20 million community change grant that would positively impact San Juan County. I'm happy to discuss this further with you all afterwards, but don't want to take up too much of your time. But just wanted to let you know that he was very sad not to be here, and I'm very happy to be here. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, the next one we have Tammy. Hey, Tammy.
Good morning, Tammy Squires. I'm a resident of Monticello. I am here as the executive director of San Juan Counseling, the local mental health authority. Over the last year, we've had 2 of our board members resign, and so we are down 2 board members, and we are having a hard time recruiting new board members. So I'm coming here for the public and for you guys help asking to get some board members on our San Juan Counseling Board. So if you guys know of anybody that would be a good fit or interested in that, send them my way. They need to send an official letter to Matt that then would come to you guys for approval. So that's what I'm asking for. And also I'm here to just say thank you for the support of the commission that you guys always give to San Juan Counseling. So
Thank you.
that's
Do
what
they
I
have
have.
a requirement to be area specific? on there?
No, we try to get people from throughout the whole county. We don't like it to just be a
Yeah.
blending based thing. And so we would prefer to have somebody from the south side of the county
Okay.
on there, but we're not limited. We do like to have a good mix, but when times get desperate, we really need to have a full board so we can have a full quorum.
Yeah. That's important.
So,
Thank you.
okay, thank
Okay,
you.
we'll get that advertised and get going on it.
Yeah, I know it's been in all the advertisements for the last
Okay.
year or so,
Yeah.
but
It's time to go out
It-
looking for people.
yeah, we're getting to where it's
We'll get our
Becoming a
headhunters
need-
involved in it.
okay. Perfect.
So,
Thank you.
thanks, Tammy. Okay, that takes care of everybody that signed in. Is there anybody else in the audience wishing to make a public comment? Is there anyone online wishing to make a public comment? If so, you can go ahead and unmute yourselves. I am not seeing anybody unmute themselves. So, commissioners, that is your public comment period. for today.
Okay, we'll go into the consent agenda and we'll turn the time again to Mac.
Okay, so on your consent agenda items for today, you have the approval of $28,686.28 in small purchases. You have $14,680.15 for the updated print travel guide for our visitor services. So that's a typo. It shouldn't be visitor centers, visitor services. We've got $1,824.15 for tire change, $3,304.68 for aftermarket transfer tank and crossbox. You have $2,077.14 for capacity truck lift service, and $1,595.72 for coil kit, $1,784.38 for a ranch hand front bumper with grill guard, and $3,420.06 for a Remen turbocharger for the San Juan County Road Department. Item number 2, approval of the February 18th, 2025 Board of Commission meeting minutes. Approval of the February 18th, 2025 Commission meeting work meeting minutes. Item number 4 is approval of the check registers for February 15th through March 13th, 2025. Item 5, approval of the San Juan County Childhood Lead Poisoning Prevention and Surveillance 2021 contract between San Juan County and the Utah Department of Health and Human Services. This is amendment number 3. Item number 6, you have the approval of the 2025 Hole in the Rock Retail Beer Sales Local Consent Form. Along with that, you have the approval of the 2025 Alcohol License Renewal for Under Canvas Incorporated for Elam, Moab. Item number 8, ratification of the Utah Department of Agricultural Rural Business Development Grant Letter of Support. And then you also have the ratification of letter support to Congressman Kennedy for the LaSalle Water Infrastructure Funding Support requests that TJ had mentioned. That, Commissioners, is your consent agenda items for today. Do you have any questions? Okay.
No, thank you. So we have a present. Is he online?
That's the next after we
Oh,
do
we
a
need
vote
to-
on the consent agenda
Okay.
items.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do you have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second the motion to approve the consent agenda items.
All in favor say aye.
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 The
Okay.
motion passed.
Okay, perfect. Under recognitions, presentations, and informational items, we have a presentation of the upcoming events for Child Abuse Prevention Month in April. This is be Robert Neiman. I'm not seeing him here or online. I think a lot of this, just so you're aware, this next month is Prevention Month for child abuse, against child abuse. Typically throughout counties, you'll see them doing a lot of prevention. This next month, you see Light Up the Night for the prevention of child abuse here in San Juan County. Some of the events that are going to be taking place throughout the county. A lot of people put up the signs and everything, trying to raise awareness about child abuse throughout public facilities or in their own homes throughout the cities and towns throughout San Juan County. So we're hoping for your support just to raise that awareness that there are prevention opportunities that are out there, and that there are events that will help support child abuse and hopefully get more of the prevention measures out there throughout the county. So you'll hear a lot more of this as we go through and proceed in through April, but this was to kick off the ground running. We do have an event that's coming up here in USU Blanding Arts Center on March 25th. So here in a couple days, where we'll have a speaker that'll be specific in addressing measures and ways that you protect your children. And this is advice from child molesters. So it kind of gets you into their mindset on child molestation and the ways that these individuals had were able to perpetrate. And so it's kind of from their standpoint looking in so that we can learn ways on our side of how to prevent that child molestation to come about. With that being said, I think that was all the presentation
I just
that
want
he
to
had.
I just want to add to it that, knowing how abusers, I have worked with children for 22 years out of college, and when you if you can learn signs, you can prevent. There's certain things that happen to children that are being abused. There's certain things that you can start notice an abuser, and it's kind of interesting because abusers come in all ages. Children can be abusers. If children were abused, they become abuser. So sometimes it's lots of little things. If you have an experience in your family, whatever, just going to those workshops, especially anybody benefits. I haven't gone to all those workshops. I became more wise at what to learn with my own children. And so I think even if we don't have the problem, we can help others by notice the signs of a child is being abused, or just spotting a person that is an abuser. And sometimes they have double personality. They can be one way to somebody and another way to somebody else. And so by learning and reading those signs, it's very helpful. And one of the things that I'm looking forward to this event is they're gonna have for the whole month, you get to put color lights in your porch. If you have any one color light or multiple color light up your porch. We just barely took a Christmas light. We should have left it on. I tell my husband in the back. Anyway, but I think it'd be a nice way to send a signal to the world that we support those families, we support those children, and the Justice Center is an amazing thing that we had the opportunity to have that. So anyway, so that we need to make a motion
No,
on this.
that was just the presentation
Okay.
that he had submitted. It's just more for your awareness for this next month. Kind of like you had mentioned, the switch your porch. They're recommending switch your porch light to blue, which is the prevention color for April. Like you'd mentioned, decorate your home with a string of lights, decorate a tree or bushes with lights, create a light border around your yard. And so this begins on April 1st and proceeds through the month of April, between what they're asking for, light up the night, which is kind of their motto for this year. They were wanting us to light up the night between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. each night throughout the month. And so, that being said, we'll continue on with our business action items. The first business action item that we have on our agenda, if you're looking and following along, it's item number 11, consideration and approval of the Veterans Park ADA Accessible Playground Project Memorandum of Understanding and ratification of the funding letter of support. We have Megan Gallegos, Monticello City Assistant City Manager. I almost promoted you.
Yeah, thank
So-
you. I don't want that promotion.
So she is here to present. We do have a picture, so we did approve, and it's ratifying the support letter that we'd already gotten her so that she can apply for the grant in time. And then she had provided some pictures here.
Not that one. I got you better ones from that one.
Was there another one?
Yeah, the ones I sent you in your email this morning.
That was it. This was the one. And I just downloaded it to the image. Was there another one?
Yeah, it was a whole packet.
Okay. You know what? We did see that. You had commented.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Was that a PDF? Can you remember?
Yeah, it was downloaded. Isn't that the one you had pulled up earlier?
We looked at it.
If there's an email that's easier for you, I don't know.
I will find it.
Should just be like,
Go ahead. And
okay.
That's nice.
Good morning, commissioners. Thank you so much for letting me come and for ratifying that letter in advance. There we go. So that I could apply for this grant on time. It was due yesterday at 5 p.m. and I got it in at 1 o'clock. So I count that as a huge win. So I've got on page 1, and it's just kind of a site plan. So what we're working on is replacing the playground equipment at Veterans Park here in Monticello. The current playground equipment is not ADA accessible and was put in 2007. So it's some very aging infrastructure, and we're really wanting to get some ADA accessibility in that park, update that playground equipment, and just kind of make it a nicer park all overall for our community and our county. I applied for the San Juan Clean Energy Grant back in October, and I was awarded $70,000 to go towards this project, but it's about a $255,000 project to replace the equipment and make it ADA accessible. So it's definitely not cheap. It's a lot of fun. So this just kind of shows on this first picture. Can you change the orientation on that?
risky. No.
Okay. Okay, so this is just some hand-drawn site plans that kind of show, so you guys can see where the current playground is, and then the anticipated new playground. So this will just, what's in the plan for this is also not only replacing the current playground equipment with ADA accessibility playground equipment, but also adding in a sidewalk that comes from the parking lot up to the pavilion, and then extending the concrete off of the pavilion to make it completely ADA accessible so people can get in and out of the bathrooms and access all the amenities within the park. Why you guys are so heavily involved with this is you guys own, it's like a perfect square. It's like 215 feet by 215 feet. Perfect little square right there on the corner with the library. And we are wanting to relocate where the current playground equipment is for the new one. Because there's a giant pine tree that drops a lot of pine needles right down on top of the equipment, and it just is not fun to play in. So we're just trying to shift it, make it a little bit easier, make the parking lot access a bit easier. We'll also be curb and guttering. As you guys know, you guys have the parking lot that kind of connects to our parking lot at the park, and you guys are awesome. Thank you for when you update and maintain your parking lot. You guys pave our parking lot. So in this grant, we covered the curb and gutter to do along the rest of everything, because it's only on a short little sliver of that entire parking lot. If you guys go to page 2, it's got a just kind of a zoomed up picture of what the site plan's looking like. So the dimensions of the new playground footprint, and then the curb and gutter, the sidewalk. You guys can kind of see exactly what we're working on there. The page 3, so that just kind of shows where that tree, I don't know which one that would be. The big, what, over one more?
It won't go over.
No, like your cursor.
Sorry. This one right here.
No, that way.
Yeah, this is your pavilion, right?
Yep, that's the pavilion. Those like pine trees, those smaller pine trees on the side are about where your guys' boundary is. So we're just thinking it'll be about 3 feet or so is what the playground footprint will be on your guys' property. And then that's just a picture of the pine tree and the current playground equipment. And then we'll move on to the fun stuff. So I just thought it would be awesome for you guys to be able to see what we're hoping to be put in there. This is all conceptual, and we're still playing with the colors and a couple of the little.
You can't have blue and yellow.
Yeah, we're not doing blue and yellow. Still playing with the colors, and some of the other like attractions on it, but this playground equipment will have a lot of sensory music stuff, so that it's not only for people who can't walk, but it's also accessible to other people with disabilities who like the sensory aspect of things. So those are just for you guys to see, and I appreciate you guys so much for everything you do, and supporting me and all that I do. Do you guys have any questions?
Well, just want to make a comment. You know, I have worked with early childhood and I love playgrounds, and I know they cost lots of money.
Yeah.
They cost lots of money. And this is by itself is a nice project, but what it does is bring the city of Monticello to compliance to have an all
Fully ADA accessible park. Yeah.
ability, they call it all ability playground, where blind children or children in wheelchair, but it's for everybody. But that's nice. I think you're probably the first city in San Juan County that be in compliance with.
Oh, well, that's awesome. I did not know that.
Landon doesn't have it yet, and I don't think
Bluff
Spanish
probably.
Valley does,
Yeah.
or Bluff. You know, so but we'll learn a lot from that. So
Yeah.
Thank you. With that old equipment, can you sell that? Can you? Nothing you can do.
It's
You
illegal
dispose
for
it?
us. Yeah, we have to dispose of it. It's
Really?
illegal, so yeah.
So you're just gonna kind of hint around that it's headed to the landfill. Whoever
Yep.
wants to slide.
It's
Okay.
going to the landfill.
Okay.
What happens with it from there is not my business or my responsibility.
Okay. Thank you.
And I just want to point out, Talia is amazing, and she helped me quite a bit because I was feeling very overwhelmed. And she's amazing. So you guys need to keep her around.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, what are the highlights on the MOA or the MOU? What are the highlights to the memorandum of understanding, just
for
the playground?
do we have the letter? There should be a copy of the letter. That we
Mac, what are the main points under the MOU that we're doing with the city?
So on here, this is just allowing them to utilize the property.
Yeah, for the property.
That portion of the property.
Yeah.
We waive, San Juan County waives the $1 access fee or considers it an in-kind contribution to support the project, which, you know, Megan had mentioned that Talia has been there helping, and so super supportive of it, as well as our staff have been working with her to make sure that, which can also help count for that in-kind contribution as well. On here, and I think this is important to note, that the city of Monticello will assume full responsibility for the construction, maintenance, and long-term operation of the playground. So at no point in time will it revert back to the library to maintain that portion of the property that we allow them to use. It doesn't commit any county funds to the project, nor does it make the county a project partner, other than getting them established in the grant process and helping through that itself. The playground will remain public accessible for the community to use. I know I spoke to Nicole. The library there uses this outdoor space and the park, you know, for story time reading as they take the kids out, and they'll have the events and story time, things like that, with utilization of the park. A lot of times people will come and go when we have the larger events. 24th of July specifically, we kind of close the door on the back so that people don't come in and use the library restroom. But I think this is a pretty good interface overall with our public library system as well as the park, and being able to integrate it at all. When you look at libraries itself, and I've talked to you about this before, is they're really an anchor to the community, but so is a community park. This is one of the first places we went to when I came down here to Monticello with kids. We went to the park. They have a skate park, and having that ADA accessibility, like Megan had mentioned, not only is it a requirement, a legal requirement, that we have ADA compliant parks and playground equipment, this will also be an added benefit. It'll get more people there, which in turn will hopefully get more people into our library services as well.
Okay.
Other than that, that's kind of the overall.
Is there anything that prohibits county commissioners from trying out the swing?
Did you have a question?
So is this done with, do we do a deed?
So no,
At
this
all?
is, they're just going to exist on it through this MOU.
Okay.
And so we're not transferring property to them. It'll
Okay.
just be in partnership with them. And it's similar inverse on the parking lot. There are stalls there that are actually the city stalls. We kind of go through their property to get to our parking lot. And so we've always just kind of partnered in this area with the city, and the city's been a great partner in that. And we helped kind of pave the parking lot a couple years ago with some of the ARPA funds that we had, so that it kind of lifts up the whole, boosts the aesthetics of the area.
Okay. Thank you.
So, do we have any more comments or questions?
A motion to approve, Commissioners.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So the motion passed.
Okay, item number 12. Consideration, and these next items are TJ's as well, down to item number 16, but you have the consideration and approval of the offer deal loader trade. We've got TJ, it looks like our director, our road superintendent online.
I thought he'd be in person with big
TJ,
smiles.
you're
you
on
know.
mute. Go ahead, take it away. Thanks, Megan. TJ, can you hear us? I can't.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so what this is we've kind of been in a program where we upgrade our loaders every year. And so keeps them new, keeps them under warranty. And so this program is to sell our 2024 models back to Caterpillar for $231,000 and then get new ones for $231,000. So we upgrade our fleet, stay under warranty with the new stuff, and it doesn't cost the county any money. So that's what I'm asking for on this approval, is to be able to do that.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
No.
Any comments?
I'll go ahead and motion to approve, Commissioner.
Can we come and ride on them?
I'll make a
Afraid.
second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Okay, this next one is, you voted on that one, right? Sorry, I was thinking ahead. So this next one is consideration to replace the tire machine.
So with the new vehicles, new tires, bigger tires, fancier tires, our old tire machine in the south shop doesn't work to do a lot of these new tires. And so we'd like to upgrade our tire machine down there. And so that's what this one's for.
$12,525.78.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, this next one is consideration and approval of a 2024 Chevy Silverado purchase. Not a Ford, but Chevy.
Is that item 13?
Item number 14.
Can you put 14 on the,
Go ahead, TJ.
can we move it to the 14
screen.
on the screen? Thank you.
Okay. So this one is a crew cab, just a cabin chassis for our patch crew. And so we'll have to get a bed for it, a flatbed for it, after we get this truck. What we'd like to do is we'd like to shift our fleet around a little bit. The weed department's been in need of a truck. And so what we want to do is take one of our old trucks, put the flatbed on it, move it into the weed department, and replace ours, because we use ours 12 months a year. Weed department uses theirs for about 6. So we figured that it would be the best use of county money, instead of buying a new truck for the weed department, but rotate one of the road department's older trucks into there. So that's what we'd like to do. And this truck, under state contract, saves us quite a bit of money. And so the impact of this is $49,370, and that's in this year's budget.
We
I'll
have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the 2024 Chevrolet pickup.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Passes.
Okay, this next one is consideration and approval of the annual chip seal and fog oil purchase.
So this is just our annual, we chip X amount of county roads, and we fog seal so many county roads every year to keep our roads in good shape. And so that's what this is for. I know you're looking at the price and saying, man, the road department spends a lot of money, but it's expensive to maintain our paved roads. And so that's what this one is for. It's the same company that we've used for years. We make our own chips in our pit, and so they're a dirtier chip, and so they special formulize their oil to meet with our chips, and they do it for every pit we have. So we have to send them samples. They make a product, and it's worked well for us. And so that's what this is for. We've got about 14 miles that we will chip, and about 27 miles that we will fog this year for $601,761. What we do is we contract early to get the best price before summertime, and the oil prices go up, and so that's why it's here as early as it is.
Any questions?
No questions. Go ahead and make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 It passes. Item 16.
Okay. Item number 16 is consideration and approval of dust suppressant purchase.
So we do dust suppressant and a stabilizer on a few of our roads in the county. Most of them are bus routes that we do in places that are really dusty in the residential type areas on county roads. And so that's what this product is. The company that we've got a couple different, talked to some different companies, but these guys will actually come and apply the product. We don't have an equipment to apply it at this point. We're working on that, but they come and apply it to the roads. Like I say, the roads that we do are mainly for the travel of the school bus in those areas that are high impact houses. We've also got a few roads that we want to do on the southern end of the county, just south of Blanding, that are heavy used, and they're hills that corrugate really bad. And we want to try this on them and see if it'll hold our road together better for our oil filled traffic and the semi traffic that runs on those roads. And so that's what this is for. And it's the same thing. We contract early so that we get the best price, and then we'll do our projects throughout the year.
I have a question. At one time we talked about the possibility doing this in the road that goes through wastewater.
Yes.
Maybe we can
Once
visit about that.
Yes, once they finish that project, I talked to them a week ago, and they've got some gravel they've got to put on. Once they get all that done and the project's finished with the city of Blanding, then that's definitely something that we can discuss on what to do there.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Madam Chair, I got 2 questions for for our superintendent. So, first question is, how many miles is that approximately covering for the dust suppressant?
This is approximately 13 miles.
Okay.
Well, hang on. It's going to be almost 20 miles because this is also we joint venture with the Forest Service, and we mag the road from on 285 Johnson Creek from the end of the pavement up to Najoni. So half of this, they actually pitch in $45,000 of this $98,000 ask to do that road. And so, and I did not include that in here. I should have. So
It's in the details on there.
Okay.
okay.
Appreciate that clarification, Todd. Second question is, is the company, is that public company, or is that something that's only counties and states are privy to?
No, it's public. It's the same company that we did the Elk Petroleum stuff with last year.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
anybody, they're a private owned company. They'll do it for anybody.
That was my next question, because I know Elk Petroleum has some roads it does mag chloride on, and
Yep.
there's
Same
never.
company.
Okay. Cool. That was it, Madam Chair. Other than that, motion to approve.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, TJ. Okay, this next item on your agenda, we're at item number 17. Is consideration and approval of the settlement agreement between San Juan County and Northern Monticello Appliance. Jens, I think you're giving this update.
I was talking to Lyman here when you said that. Sorry. This is about which one is this
This
about?
is the
Settlement.
Northern Monticello
Oh.
Appliance. So I think all of the commissioners, you'd received the settlement agreement. Hopefully you've had a chance to look at that, and if there are any questions.
I can give you a little background if you'd like on it. Or maybe you don't need it if you've already approved it.
No, I'd like to
We're
hear
good,
it.
yeah.
This was an ongoing legal matter, and we had a day of mediation up in Salt Lake, which resulted in this agreement. This is like other settlement agreements where you just have to do the best you can and put an end to the legal battle and move forward. So we feel like this is the best we could do, and I believe everyone's approved it. I think, is that right? So guess that's it. Unless you have any other question.
So are we ratifying that approval, or we're
No, this you're
Actually-
given the approval.
Okay.
This is
today,
just
and
a
then we'll
sign,
get
I
the
believe.
signatures.
okay? So I'll make a motion. You're ready for
Yeah. Any more questions?
Nope.
Anybody?
So I will make a motion to approve this settlement agreement between San Juan County and Northern Monticello Appliance.
Yeah,
Second?
I'll second the motion to approve.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Passes.
Okay. So with that, item number 18, consideration and approval of the Federal Aviation Administration grant request for funding for the 2025 Cal Black Airport taxi lane and access road upgrades. You've kind of seen language on the taxiway several times this year as we've prepared the design and everything for, as well as the cost estimates for this project of remodeling that taxiway and access road upgrades. So if you go out there, we haven't touched the access road. I think we were fortunate to get the FAA to allow the access road into the building itself, and so that's gonna be added on to this project as well as the taxiway itself. In here, this is the grant application request to the federal airport or the aviation administration. With that, it also includes in there the state's portion and the county's portion. The state and the county will both pitch in $14,953 of this. The grant request in total is $598,106. So fairly expensive, but our portion is only that 14,000 of the project. And so what this does, and at some point in time we're going to have to bring back our capital plan, but in our capital plan we plan out 10 years of projects, and this is the top of our capital plans now. And with this being the top, part of it was in anticipation that we can begin in the future to look at this as also an economic engine for the county out of Cow Black. What the taxiway and the apron improvements also entail is opening up a bigger area for airport hangars to be installed out there. They used to have an airport hangar a long time ago. You can kind of see the remnants of it where it existed on the sandstone. This kind of gives them a hard surface that, we had one point in time entertained an individual that was looking for an airport hangar space for his son that was a airplane mechanic. Apparently, if you're an airplane mechanic and you're good, they'll fly anywhere. Because that was one of the questions. Like, you realize Cow Black is clear out in the middle of nowhere, and he's like, it doesn't matter. Airplanes will fly anywhere to a good mechanic, wherever they are. And so he had thought about placing a hangar out there, wanted the county to purchase the hangar, and then he would lease it from us. But in the future, this gives us a little bit more viability in that, to where they won't have to put a hangar out in the sand or on sandstone. That will actually create a hard surface area. In our master plan, it's anticipated at some point in time that we would have a hangar system. It's kind of common for airports to have hangars. We have a hangar here at the Monticello Airport that we lease to a gentleman that owns an airplane. He rents that from us every month, and hopefully in the future we can get in that business out at Cow Black. A lot of people fly into Cow Black and will park their airplane on that taxiway and that apron area, and then we have a van out there where we shuttle them down to their houseboat or down to their boat, and then after the weekend they'll jump out, we'll shuttle them back to their airplane, and they'll fly off. So we've got quite a bit of economic and tourism possibility there. We just need to hopefully in the future get to a point where we have more services out there that we can offer instead of just the leased space that we have right now in the dirt. And so that's kind of a part of this is creating those improvements so that we have that ability to put in more hangars around the terminal. So with that, all we're looking for today is just an approval of the grant request. The one of the questions that I had was, well, if the federal government has stopped a lot of the funding, this was one of them that was already designated funds from back in 2022 that we've used on our projects that have been allocated, and we just kind of take these small chunks as we can until the money runs out here in 2026. And so that kind of helps reduce our overall costs. It gave us additional grant funds that we were able to get from the FAA in these projects.
Aviation is one of the main things that the current administration is trying to improve.
Mm-hmm.
They need more training people, and maybe eventually, I know that the USU and Price, they have a mechanic program for and also other program with aviation, and where that would be close to the one campus and this possibility. And these are the kind of things that you learn about this grant by connection. I know Mac was gone last week to, or a couple of weeks ago, to this conference where you go and learn what other people are doing and how much money you can get. And this is one thing that's so inexpensive for us, other than have to attend the meetings and make sure that you know when the grants are due and turn them in. And we're gonna have something for the future that is nice to have. It can not only help San Juan County, this part of San Juan County, but also, you know, for the southern part of the reservation where there can be job opening if they were to start business and different things like they used to have before. And I think this is one thing that's for the future, not only, you know, for now, writing those grants and getting the money to come, and that's one of the things for our community development. So
Like so
I
too.
appreciate that. Anybody have questions or comments?
You kind of see on here just to point out and kind of get you in reference and a frame of mind for the future of the airport. Anything within the fence we have to preserve as airport related services, and so the fence line, the access road coming in, is not within the fence line boundaries of the airport. And so you kind of see in this image, well, you see the new taxi lane that will go to the airport hangars area. And then you see kind of this approach, the access road up to the terminal. Along here, you kind of see all these little shelters that are there. These are the boat storages or vehicle storages that people have vehicles and boats in. Our forward base operator, so our airport operator out there, he leases these to individuals that will then take the boats down to the lake. We have a bunch of houseboats that are still here that were primarily abandoned that we need to work with, and he's been advertising the appropriate notices of abandonment because they've just been left there. And so would like to haul these away to the landfill, get rid of those. But in the future, it's really looking at this intersection and the potential for something there as far as economic development. When you go out there, there's no quagga shell spray off system or anything like that. And so part of it is, you know, as staff, we had once entertained, you know, it'd be nice to get a gas station out there that as people drive, and especially if the ferry is closed down, tourists will drive all the way out there to the ferry, find that it's closed. And since that point in time, the UDOT has placed a sign at the beginning saying whether that ferry is open or closed. But a lot of times people will get out here and there are no services. And so part of the thought was, well, maybe we can entice somebody to come and build a gas station on this corner and have the quagga mussel spray system. We do have water out here, a well, but everything else is kind of just like that backwoods. It's all on solar power, and so they would have to figure out the power. But there is water available that we could lease to something up front, like a convenience store or gas station, spray center. But there's a lot of opportunities. So just keep in the mind as the FAA gives us these grants and everything, how we can better utilize this airport out there and kind of make it a little bit more service oriented other than just the airport itself. And so that'll come in the future as we continue to, as we get to the point where, so it's been about 6 years now. Your master plans are good for 10. So some of you will see this master plan come up where we've got to renew or update our master plan. And so that'll come in the future. But just having this in the back of your mind of some of the operation services that are provided in that potential hangar system. There's about 6 planned hangars in here with that new taxiway that we could taxiway in and out some of these airplanes that could park in there and we could lease them out. on a daily lease or daily rental to individuals. So a lot of future opportunity, I think, in this airport as we go forward.
Oh, so I just gonna say, we access that airport. We did earlier quite often, and a couple things I'm wondering that we could entertain the idea is where those canvas storage. No, yep, that side right there. We did lease one of those for quite a few years, but they're so battered now. I don't know if we could look somehow into possibly recovering those, because then you can use them for boat storage. The other idea I would suggest is possibly having a conversation with the National Park Service, because they really let the services go within that area. So when you go down to the campground, it needs some much needed repair. It needs updated and working with Aramark. So, I mean, it's still utilized a lot, but I think we need to upgrade both ends of it, whether it's with the Park Service and getting those accessible. But like you say, a place to spray, actually a car wash would be amazing right there, because we all, you pull the boat out and clean it. So I think there's a lot of possibilities there, but I think we've got to have conversations on both sides of the table with that Park Service.
Absolutely.
What's the volume there? Sorry.
Oh.
I'm just curious, the volume of the airport. Does anybody
Like
have a
volume,
feel?
like
Flights in and out?
oh,
So I have
We
that
used to
report. I
know,
don't have
but
it
I
on
don't
the top
know.
of my head, but the state does. They count the number of touches at this airport, and this is on the state's radar as one of those that economically benefit the county by having that here. And I can't remember what they determine that off of touches. Now, part of the touches, we had an awesome employee out here who would cook Navajo tacos on Wednesdays. And she would get the flight school from Cedar City that would fly out here and have lunch and then fly back. Wow. And so it's not only our employees that work here that bring in a lot of the people, and that was included in the touches. And so we have talked before with, when Monument Valley was under private ownership, they have an airport there, and you have people that they come to stay at Monument Valley. How awesome it would have been to have a chartered plane that could charter people out to here, and then we could transport them down to the lake on a day excursion, or water skiing, or
Just
jet
fly
skiing.
over, just a pretty scenery.
Absolutely,
to fly over.
yes, yep. And so I think there's definitely a lot of opportunities, and kind of like Lori or Commissioner Juan had mentioned, there does have to be discussions with the Park Service. When the Park Service entered into the agreement with kind of the host of these marinas, they had contracted with Airmark, but it was for 3 marinas. So it was the one over by Page, the Bullfrog, and ours. They took all of the resources really from here and focused on Page and Bullfrog.
Oh yes,
and you can see that. You get a sense
yeah.
when you go out there, it literally looks like it's abandoned.
Yep.
The Park Service has since kind of separated that Airmark agreement, and last year they advertised for the Height Marina. There's a service station there and a boat launch that they have a concessionaire operating. That wasn't successful with that concessionaire, but we're hoping, and in conversations with them, we need to get them to look at reopening this for a new concessionaire that they can start building them back up. But I also think the national park needs to put more money into this side, because you go out there and it literally looks like this side of the lake has been abandoned, and this side of the lake, really, if you think of geographically, services Colorado, Arizona, and this piece of Utah. And so there's a lot of potential that I don't think we're seeing on there. When Representative Lyman was here as well, when the lake levels got low and they started to get lower here on this side of it, you started to hear more of those arguments and how placing Lake Powell in jeopardy at such a low level actually hurts us. Part of his argument was, San Juan County, you talk about the Great Salt Lake and the need to save that lake. Well, there's really more of a need to save Lake Powell and make sure those levels don't get to where such a point that it's below level that it puts these marinas in jeopardy, because it takes that economic development engine away from southeastern southern Utah, who rely on those boat ramps. If they're not operational and the national park isn't putting funding into it, people stop going because there's not services. Typically, when you go on the other side of the lake and you go to the marina, you expect to have ice cream, you expect to have ice, and none of that is over here. The services aren't there. They've just pulled them out across the lake. And so
how many projects have we been involved in the last couple of years? So
with this one here,
I know
every year we have an airport project.
That's what I thought. Every year we have something. And what I was thinking about, we had the Olympics coming in 10 years. And we have beautiful places to show and some show off,
Yeah.
And sometimes people get in here, if they go by car, it takes them a long time. That's one thing. Another thing that it'd be nice to be able, by that time, to have something that somebody can pick them up from, from Moab or something, and bring them to the area, tourists. And the other thing, even right now, lots of tourists come and they go to Los Angeles, to Las Vegas, and we don't have a connection for them to come this way. And then they rent a car, and they don't realize how long it takes you a long, long time.
Yeah.
And so it'd be nice to be able to have tour where somebody promote those from the bigger cities to come over here. And that's something I've been talking to the city manager in Blanding.
Yeah,
former one.
I think there's a real opportunity when you get into that frame of mind as Moab, with their airport over there. They get into the chartered flights, whether it's SkyWest or another company. They're starting to tap into Denver, Colorado right now for flights to come from Denver to here. And so that kind of opens an opportunity for charters to come and pick them up at the Canyonlands airport, transport them out to here. And similar system is we just have to have a vendor down at the lake with the boat or jet skis that can then take them on these day trips to Rainbow Bridge, things like that, when it's accessible. So a lot of opportunity. Just keep it in your mind and on your radar as you have these discussions. I know there's been discussions about us helping on their board for the airport, because it is really, that Canyonlands airport really is a region airport, similar to what we're trying to make Blanding is that region airport. And so with these airport systems, you're 15 minutes away from Moab, and probably less than that from Blanding. And so there's a lot of opportunity as the bird flies, to make things happen.
Madam Chairwoman, since we're talking about ideas, here's an extreme thought. And I'll include another subject similar to this in my report. But, the tribe down south from where I come from, there's two of us. There's a White Mesa Ute, and then there's the Navajo Nation. I know the chapters are always looking for opportunities to also have that opportunity for economic development. My thought is, in basic form, if there was just a section open for tribes to put up a taco stand or something, or even a jewelry.
Or even truck, food truck. Food truck, place.
And it's through the and it's through the county. County sponsors this section for our indigenous partners.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I would be so happy for that on a Saturday night.
Yeah. And likewise, in my report, I'll talk about the Four Corners Monument and the need for rehabilitation there, but we can partner and open up space for the county to also be there. So we're trading, helping each other. So anyhow, maybe I'm just infusing that since this is county property.
It is county operated.
So
I thought the tribe had some kind of a marina. Didn't they have a part of the marina at one point?
a big was,
And so maybe it's something that can be
and
restored.
and I know that the biggest challenges for Utah chapters is the tribe focuses on the tribe as it's an entire as a nation, but then the Utah chapters are struggling
Yeah.
because they're always cut back when it comes to, well, the majority of the tribe belongs to Arizona, New Mexico, and you're only the minority up north, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But if we can help support the Utah chapters, here's a section of land, let's
If we do this
partner,
as a county, then the money stays in the county.
and this money stays in the
And
county.
that's the thing that I always struggle with. We have had a conversation.
Yeah,
We're supposed to be helping, but the money doesn't stay there. It goes,
it goes down back into the pots of
yeah.
the what is it now, 24 other areas.
We need the beso to stay here, huh?
Keep the beso in Utah.
Well, I think it'd be.
I know,
it'd
I
be-
know money. I know water. I know lots of words like that. I hear in the commission.
It would be good to renew now that the Navajo Nation has purchased the Golding site with the airport there. It'd be interesting to renew those conversations with them about the possibility of doing charters out to here, and then that vendor that becomes reality where the charter can fly them in the same time they're bringing people out, and then that's your snow cone vendor. I've seen snow cones in the corner of Shanto.
That's right.
You know, and so they would definitely get out and do it. But have the Navajo tacos, the snow cones, things like that.
That's
This
right.
corner as we charter people down to the lake, I think it'd be a great kind of opportunity, similar to what you see at the Four Corners.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's clear out there in the middle of nowhere, and they've got the vendor booths and these opportunities to sell their baskets and, you know,
jewelry,
all of that, just right there on the corner. And so it won't bring a lot, but if it brings, 10 people in a day, 10 different people, that's a pretty good amount.
Yeah,
And so there's
rotation.
opportunities like that, I think, that abound. We just need to have the discussions and make it happen. Where this is outside of the airport itself, we won't see any FAA funding coming towards that, but I think so. We put this radar on. Our economic development team spoke to Talia about some of the opportunities in these grants that the state provides. That here's an economic opportunity that we can look for other sources of
And
funding.
one
for.
thing that Commissioner Harvey and I can do, we can bring this up to the NRF funds.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We need to, we've been getting really creative with special projects and working out maybe something we can do there. So this week is when we're meeting.
Yes, we are this week. Motion to approve the grant request for 14. Was it 14,000? I forget the amount.
It's,
The county's contribution.
Oh yeah, the 14,400. Let me see if I can find it really fast. $14,953.
Yeah, 14,953 of the county's contribution.
I'll second that.
all in favor, say aye.
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 All right, on to the next one. The next one is consideration and approval of a standard service provider contract between San Juan County and Legacy Pro Rodeo LLC for rodeo stock contractor services. So here, let me get to the staff report. Just as a reminder, as we've taken over operation of the rodeo from the Stampede vendor, it is required of us to take those contracts and modify them over into a standard county contract. So that's what you're seeing here. Last year, this Legacy Pro Rodeo was their vendor. They had contracted with Stampede for 3 years, and so we're in the second year. All this is really doing is placing the structure of the original contract and vendor into a county contract. So we legitimize the contract itself. This year's Stampede Rodeo, we have the dates for June 12th through the 14th. And so in the contract itself, the contract for 2025 is for $54,366. And then we also have in the contract $56,934. Let's see, sorry. I got ahead of myself. So $54,366 is what we pay the stock contractor. Then $40,500 is what we're committed to pay in prize money, and so that comes out of our budget as well. There's some nuances with the contract itself. So you see in the scope of services, typically our scope of services is really for the vendors themselves, but in here in his original contract, he also had things that the county had to commit to as well. Obviously the providing adequate corrals, pens, hay, troughs of water, things like that for the event. We have that already. We've got to provide feed for the event livestock for the total of 7 days. And it's broken out and how much in alfalfa, how much in hay. The county shall provide 5 trailer parking spots down at the fairground. That one's pretty easy, especially now that we have the RV stalls there. We would just designate some of those for them, as well as their stock trailers, which will be parked up more towards the corrals themselves. We've got to provide 6 hotel rooms on here, provide Wi-Fi, an adequate number of local laborers for the events. We've got to provide all specialty acts. And then, like I'd mentioned, the prize money. And then we'll coordinate one with another. We do have the vendor AM Sports Ventures in production that you had contracted with a couple months ago with Annie. She's been great. She's been helping us with a lot of these items that we have to provide. She's working on the hotel arrangements right now. She's asked us, where do we get our alfalfa and hay? So she's kind of behind the scenes helping us with this. She was also one of those other contracts that existed for 3 years that we converted over to the county contract, which allows us to kind of move forward, but yet keep the same. Last year, Legacy Pro Rodeo, they had phenomenal stock, and I think that they also brought some of the cowboys with it. They've entered into a sponsorship and a promotion program called Road to Gold, which is included in the contract amounts now. So it's $3,000 a year on this sponsorship and promotion program that he has going, where cowboys can sign up for the Road to Gold, hit these rodeo circuits that are under this promotion, and earn points. Those points will then be totaled up at the end of the year, and those cowboys have a chance to win a horse trailer, items like that are on that promotion event. So he is hoping that he can get a little bit more higher quality cowboy from the PRCA to come to these events. And so we're in partnership with him. He currently has rodeos. He does the one in Grand County. He does the one in the Eagle Mountain. So there's several rodeos here in Utah that he uses to promote and issues his stock. So the commitment, like I'd mentioned, was a 3-year. We're on year 2. And then we'll continue to work with him until the remainder of that final rodeo. The dates were already set, so it's pretty hard to go back and ask him to change his dates. They tend to fall in line with Cortez Rodeo, same nights, so that as they have a slack event, things like that, then those cowboys can go into Cortez just it's 20-minute drive from here, 40-minute drive into Cortez, then those cowboys can come from there over into ours, and we'll just kind of stagger some of our slack events and that, so that those contestants can get there and get here at the same time, so that we can get more and more professional cowboys here and cowboy girls, because
Yeah.
this does have the Women's Rodeo Association component.
Seemed like
as well.
last year, the animals were so much professional than the cowboys, and I think it kind of this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The caliber
Oh,
was
the
so
bull
high.
riders were pretty
Well,
good.
you know, I think that, I mean, and Kara did mention when she came and talked to us, you know, that she was a little disappointed because those were champions, those bulls, and,
yeah,
and
the Wright
horses
brothers
there.
here, yeah.
And so it, you know, there was like the year before, nobody won anything because nobody can
Yeah. Yep.
do it. And we have very, you know, we even have a champion from your area that was here. I mean,
Yeah,
a national
yeah.
champion.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we have lots of qualified people like that, but it kind of discourages, I guess, when you come and it's not a profitable night or proper
Yeah.
event or something like that. So
We'll do better this year so Commissioner Mon is on that committee. That was one of the things we've assigned to her, to be part of that that governing body. And so we will create a board that'll help us with the rodeo and getting kind of the laborers and kind of behind the scenes.
yeah,
And so we're working on getting that up and running. I mean, obviously here it is close to the end of March, and you have June when the rodeo is. And so Annie behind the scenes has been working a lot, getting all of the promotion packages, marketing ready to go. And the stock contractor bringing him on board, we can coordinate all of these efforts through that rodeo committee to get more, just improve upon what Kara has left off. And so each year for me being here, it seems like it builds upon itself better and better. Obviously there was the COVID year where we didn't have it, but kind of continuing forward, it seems like it's gotten better for me throughout time. And so a little bit more entertainment, and we'll work on that entertainment piece as well. Like in this contract itself, is we're in charge of the entertainment. That's one of those, that specialty act that Annie's working on right now,
well, that's
to
good.
get that under contract and get that going. And so this is just another step to bring the stock in.
It is a nice event, though. You have everybody, the whole county participate in the rodeo.
You'll see a lot more sponsorship this year as we've committed to Annie and the stock contractor as well. He's about a year out on it, and so next year, if there's any anticipation or thought of marketing this back out to other stock contractors, we would put an RFP next year out so that we can get that annual commitment. He had mentioned, the stock contractor mentioned, that typically he figures out which rodeo he's going to down at the NFR, which the National Finals Rodeo takes place in December. And he knows in December who he's working with next year on stock. And so we'll have to kind of be heads up in 2026 to make sure that we're at the table very early. If we transition to a different stock contractor, that we actually put that through instead of just finding him at the convention, the rodeo convention that's down in Vegas about that time. Any questions
Any
with?
question, Commissioner Purdy? Any comments?
Looks good.
Okay,
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with San Juan County and Legacy Pro Rodeo.
Do we have a
I'll second the motion
second?
to
We have
approve.
a motion and a
contract.
second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Pass. And so we have one more item.
Okay. Final item, so item number 20 is consideration and approval of the amendment number 1 to the standard architectural services contract for San Juan County Public Safety Building Remodel Project Design and Construction Administration Services with AJC Architects. Last year, we had contracted with AJC to be our architect. In that original contract, it anticipated going into the project, we had some rough estimates on how much the project would cost. And as we work through this first phase, in that schematic phase of design, the construction costs automatically anticipated that there would be a change. In her contract, she had that if it does change, then we would also make an amendment to the agreement up to 7.5%. That was the amount that she had placed in there. We have gone through those steps and have progressed in the design to where we're getting now into that final design. We're getting closer to final design, and now we have a truer cost with the contractor and with their estimator have come together, modified the building to try to keep us within costs. They're currently estimating that the total construction budget would be $22,504. Let's see, 22 million. That would be nice if it was 22,000, but it's $22,504,944, which automatically prompts that increase 7.5% up to $337,873. Let me get my numbers on my dollars right. $337,871, which would then be modified to reflect in her contract so that we're paying the architect appropriately with that. With that being said, in the original contract and proposal, they had proposed that if the county needs any consultation services, that the county would provide those on our own. In here, we do have to bring in an envelope consultant for the building. The building, we've tried really hard, and we think we have it now in design where we don't have to do a lot of seismic upgrades to the building. If we have to do seismic upgrades, that $22 million isn't enough to do seismic upgrades on an old building. But yet there's still a new building that's going to be attached to the old building, and then there's some old building issues that need to be corrected. So in several areas, the brick on the exterior of the building is leaking into the building. Also, the windows need to be updated. The consultant on here, we talked to AJC and they're willing to place it in their contract and hire the consultant on their own, and we would just funnel the money through the architect instead of having to go through an RFP and going through that 2-month, 3-month long process. It's easier for them to hire them under the architect's umbrella. So there's $15,500 that of the cost that will go to that envelope consultant so they can come in and work on it. They just got off of a project, the consultant did, where they had a similar situation up north with a similar public safety building that had to upgrade windows, and they were able to work through and work with the contractor with a solution to help better the building itself, and that's what we need here. So they've already started that thought process with us in the design, and now this contract just brings them on full tilt so that they can work with the contractor and the architect for those solutions that hopefully won't cost a lot of money, but will still extend the life of the building. That was one of the initially when we were going through the pre-design phases, you know, it was really a thumbs up, thumbs down from the contractor and architect, where I had asked them point blank, and like, if this costs us more money, let's stop, you know. And especially at the end of the day, what we don't want to have is spend $22 million on a public safety remodel and 7 to 10 years from now be in the same discussion. It's like, hey, our building has problems, we need to completely redo the building. And so we want to make sure what we do now can extend that lifetime of the building, hopefully past the 25-year mark. And so bringing these consultants on that have that specialty is really needed now, so that we know that we're putting good money into a longer term use instead of just a 7-year temporary fix. And so,
Do you have any question, Commissioner Harvey? Any question? I have a couple questions. One question is, what happened to the inmates while we remodel it? Are they staying there or they
no,
will
we're putting
transfer?
them to work.
Okay.
It's like bricklayers and
Yeah.
no, we
We
are.
can send them to find us some money somewhere. Huh?
Yeah, and so no, sometimes there are really good inmates that are really good help,
Well,
but
I
sometimes
have
it's hard
been
to
there.
arrest good inmates. And so overall, so in that remodel, we're hoping that we can do the new building. So you construct the new
Oh, it's
building,
on the
move the
new-
court
oh.
system out, and then we can kind of just shuffle around in the building those inmates. So we won't have to. The way that it looks right now is we won't have to close the building and ship them off to another facility. A lot of the inmates that we have in there are state inmates, so we can always ask the state to reduce the amount that they're sending us in their program. But then that is also a loss of revenue for us. And so we're hoping that we can just kind of move them in and out and phase the construction to keep everything operational. It'll be a challenge. It's a challenge for the contractor to do that, but that's kind of the plan right now is to phase it internally so that we can keep them there and keep the life. I wouldn't know the technical term for it, but the quality of life that we have to provide for them still has to remain intact and in focus as we go through. And I mean, for the inmates, we can't all of a sudden turn off the heat for months. You know, we have these requirements that we have to sustain their habitability in the building. And as we go through these phases, the contractor, he says we've done that before. They did it up in Wyoming. And so it is definitely possible to keep everything.
And so
there.
what's the capacity, what's the bed capacity right now?
I wish I knew that off the top of my head, but I don't.
Because
It's
that's
expanding.
one place where we can make money.
Yes,
you know,
it is
and
expanding.
That's reason people ask me a question. I ask the question because I know then I will know how to answer that.
We're expanding the bed count in overall.
Anyway, so and we have part of that was it's a loan from the CIB.
It is a loan, so we have a partial loan, partial grant, and part of the anticipation of a higher bed count is we'll be able to pay that
You
off.
probably guys know that, but
We will pay that loan off
No,
through the
just-
higher bed count in here, and so that much I know for sure, but I can't tell you
Okay.
off the top of my head what the current and
Thank you.
future bed count will be.
Thank you, Mac. We have a motion. If there's no any more questions, do we have a question or comments?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion to approve.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Do we need to make a motion to go out of?
So with that, we now have commission reports.
Oh, okay. Which one do you want to go first?
Well, we haven't met for about a month, so there's a lot that happened.
I'll be really brief. NACO and the things we learned there, and I think more importantly, they're a great resource that we can rely on and getting involved in those subcommittees and what we can do to have a voice with those. And then, of course, just lots of happenings, among the county with there's just, I'd have to really scan my calendar again and see everything that's happened. But I think some of those were addressed through our conversations today that we had also. So I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. Commissioner Kirby?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'll try to run through my 7 items real quickly. So the first item I just wanted to highlight is about the secure rural schools and the reauthorization of the secure rural schools. We actually have a local Bob Canavan. His my contact, and he knows us and our county and the needs. And I think he's just been a huge resource in regards to helping me follow the secure rural schools updates. And I just wanted to kind of share the information about the coalition that is always advocating for the secure rural schools and the funding that comes from that. Let me just read you real quickly. It's the Forest Counties and Schools Coalition. That's the group that's always advocating for all those other in the country, in the United States, who received this funding. And so the reauthorization bill is HR 1383, and they see, it looks like the co-sponsor. So it's also up for reauthorization, and the hope is that, well, it's been approved, and I think right now the process is how much, because we haven't paid, how much can we pay for the years that we didn't pay the counties. And what I do know is that for our county, the amount that we have earmarked is 779.1 thousand. So that's pretty close to $1 million of annual
Three-quarter of a
funding.
million, three-quarter of a million.
Yeah, pretty much a lot of money for our county, and the money goes to the school district. And from my understanding of the Secure Rural Schools funding, this is forestry funds. And I know in the past there was a mill here, and I imagine this is how we ended up getting the money, was because the county had a wood mill and they produced lumber. And that's still there, the fund that started it, still to this day. And I think the biggest worry was it's not going to be reapproved. There's no longer those monies. But we had folks working in the background, the coalition working to advocate. Canavan, who's there, always in the midst of things, to make sure that we do get those funds. And one thing I kind of mentioned to Commissioner Mon was, it's a lot of background work we can't take credit for, because Bob has made a lot of that effort too. And at some point, I think we need to consider just our gratitude and maybe retaining his services. And that's something we can talk about as a commission, because he continues that advocacy. And I think the advocacy right now is the percentage of funding that they're talking about paying back is not enough. And they're trying to push up that amount, because it's kind of a shortfall. So don't want to expound too much on that, but I'm just bringing that to our community's radar, is that the forestry payments are important for us, for our county, for our school. And so that's been approved, but then hoping we get it continue to be in place for us. The second thing I wanted to kind of talk about was United States Department of Agriculture. I brought with me a letter that I need to give to Madam Chairwoman and to MAC. And the concern is that because of the budgetary cuts that are happening within the United States Department of Agriculture, hopefully, and I'm not current yet, but hopefully it doesn't impact our county and the USDA office that is within our county, that's accessible to our current farmers and to those who rely on their federal grants for our farmers. I think the biggest concern is if they do get cut and they have to relocate, I think the next place they might have to relocate should those budgetary cuts happen is going to be price, and that really takes away the important resources for our county farmers, for those who are in agriculture, for a lot of the federal funding that a lot of our farmers depend on. The programs are going to be even further away from our community, and we don't want to see that happen. But my letter, written by some of the folks who are involved with that concern, is available. I'll submit that. I don't know if we need to review it through legal before we decide to submit. But really, the letter is addressed to the woman who we met at NACO, the National Association of Counties. We actually saw her in person talking about some of those budgetary cuts, and I really value what she said. She says, if this impacts you, let me know, because I want to help advocate for you. And so I think this is an opportunity we can take advantage of in saying, Director, it impacts San Juan County. We need the USDA services to stay and remain in our county because the majority of our community is in agriculture and in farming. So that's something I just wanted to highlight that we do need to move quickly on. The third item I wanted to talk about is Delegate Curtis Unito recently emailed me, and he's trying to put together efforts down south with the 7 Utah chapters in addressing the needs that exist for the Four Corners Monument, specifically the monument on our Utah side. I think just as we were talking about the Black Cow Memorial Airport, the neglect that was there, we're trying to pump federal dollars into it. Well, the Four Corners Monument hasn't had a revamp in quite some time now, and so there's needs there too. And a lot of the folks down south, they also rely on the monument as a source of income, their own economic, arts and crafts, kind of selling those kinds of things. And he's trying to work with the Navajo Council to draw attention to the need that the Four Corners Monument needs to be rehabilitated. It's going to need some funds. It's on the Utah side. It's in San Juan County. And so he's looking at some support. He's looking at some numbers that he's asking support with. And I think, as I've stated, if we can partner with the Navajo Nation in their efforts, and maybe if we can use Cal Memorial Airport and maybe some land as maybe leverage to say, if you help us, we can help you be successful in our county with economic development. We can partner with the Navajo Nation, specifically with the Utah chapters, to rehabilitate Four Corners Monument. Maybe also consider some state or county grants that might be available through our state. That would be, I think, collaborative, positive effort, be a partnership with the tribes. And I think they would really just appreciate that support. The fourth item I just wanted to kind of touch on is, our public health board, Ron Skinner, and his public health board. They're wonderful people, and we had an opportunity. Ron, Mac, our county administrator, myself, commissioners, we were able to meet with the Department of Health and Human Services, Tracy Gruber, David Litvak, Heather Borski, in regards to just opening ourselves to more state support, more state assistance, and helping our public health department become even more successful in providing services to all of our community members in our county. One exciting thing we talked about was inviting Tracy and her group to come down to visit. We will host. Madam Chairwoman has promised Navajo tacos, and now they are coming down, no doubt about it. And I think just being in front of Department of Health and Human Services, the state, and being there in person said much to those leaders, and being willing to accept their support and their help. That was huge, and I think that benefits us and our programs that are there, that exist in our county. So that was a positive visit, and I think we're going to be hosting within the next couple of months with collaborative efforts with the Public Health Board, our administrator, and kind of bringing them down to our county to show them some positive things that we're doing in our public health department. So that's upcoming. Next item I just want to highlight on is, back home among some of the Utah chapters, there's concern about the uranium transport. For us as a county, it's positive in the fact that it's good economic development, and it's an opportunity for the county to grow and to receive revenue. I think for the tribal leaders, the biggest concern for them is health and safety. But I know that we can help build a bridge so that we both can build a better understanding of the benefits of that agreement with the Navajo Nation, Energy Solutions and Navajo Nation. What I hear the tribal leaders say is there's a need for them to get technical support and being prepared to respond to an emergency should it happen. I think that's their biggest concern. The second concern is they don't have the equipment that's required to respond to an incident, and they're worried about that. And so if we can help advocate as commissioners in that area, we need funds for technical training for emergency response. We need funds to help get these chapters that are near the roads to have the necessary equipment to respond and to get that technical training, so that they are able to be part of that. It would be really helpful. And more education, I think more public education would help. And if there's a way we can tailor that effort, it would be good. So I just wanted to highlight that as an opportunity, a way to support elected leaders in the Utah chapters is we feel and we hear your concern. This is what we can do to support. We can advocate to get you funding that you need so that you have the equipment to respond, and you have the training you need to respond so that you feel safe when there should come an incident, and that there's a way we can support as a county. I think would be important. Last two items I dropped in, and then I really value Mac in this effort. I stopped by the Department of Public Safety in Price, Utah, and I met Cordine Price, who is the director, and it's my first time ever being there. Department of Public Safety in Price actually is the dispatch center for our county. So if you dial 911 or the number that's there, they will receive emergency calls at their operations center. So I walked into a room full of a lot of monitors and stations. I thought I had a cool office with 2 computer screens. These guys are sitting at 8 computer screens is what I counted. and then they've got a lot of video monitors. They even are able to see on our roads. There's cameras, and they get to see that live.
So they can send
So they can send
help, assistance.
Yes. I have invited Cordine to come down on April the 15th. That's 1 month from now, commissioners.
Mhm.
And I'm hoping, and I will do my part, to engage the tribal leaders and all the health agencies and counties within my district to be present when we follow up with our meeting with the emergency medical services. I know we started that discussion with them in January, and I think we're overdue for a follow-up meeting with the emergency response in our cities. I'd like to bring her to that meeting that we follow up with, so that she can provide a report, give an overview of her office, her agency, how they handle calls, and she's really receptive, she's a very caring person. So love to bring her and allow her to hear some feedback that will be available to her. If we do this right, tribal leaders will also be here and be present to express any recommendations they may have. I also invited her to the Navajo Utah Commission further south on April the 23rd, so that for those tribal elected leaders who aren't able to be present on April 15th, she's there sharing information to, Curtis Unito, to Herman Daniel, Senior Council Delegate, so that they understand our current dispatch system and how we have it in place for our county. So a lot of learning and a lot of opportunity to grow and obtain feedback from community leaders. Finally, Friday is our Community Justice Coordinating Council. I believe we set that for 10 a.m., right, Mac?
What was that? Sorry. I heard Criminal Justice Coordinating.
Council.
So yes, this Friday.
Yes. So
And we're having the state come down and give a presentation of
and
all the
Utah-
effects of the legislative session on that.
Utah Association of Counties, Andy Faulkner, I think is her name. She will come down and update the group on all the approved past legislation that impacts criminal justice and our county and the state.
That's good.
So if you have time, I believe it's here. I'll try and bring some donuts, although my coffee shop is not open.
Did they close it?
Yes. I'm still negotiating with the owner, so maybe she'll be receptive. I imagine it's a lot of work to be a business owner. So anyhow, yeah, that's my report, Commissioner. Sorry, I'm hogging all the time, but that's my seven items.
Thank you. We have been to the Utah Legislature. We have gone to the NACO conference in Washington, D.C., like Commissioner Mann said. And some of the things I got from our Utah Legislature, and I'll bring more report to the maybe the next meeting as I go through all the bills they have passed and see what may be beneficial for us, is that this year was a tough year for the UAC members. I had never been to where we had to go over and over trying to stop certain bills. I mean, to the last minute, there was one bill that was going to really hurt us, and there were so many things, and it's just like it was different. This year was different than the other years. I don't know what made it different, but I knew that the people, the UAC members, were working extra hard. And so the one thing from going to Washington, D.C., the highlight for me was I had different assignments and obligation, I guess, being a commissioner. And I belong to a group of 6 women. They have worked with now a new senator from Utah, Curtis, John Curtis. I was in when he was at Congress. I was in that group, and one of the things that each of the women would come up with an idea or plan that would be good to work to give it to the senator. And one of the highlight for me was to realize that he is going to work in him and along with 2 other senator and a congressman are working in a bill to modify child care, the benefits and taxes and different things. And so if that passes, it's going to be a really good thing to help parents with child care, affordable child care. The other thing was exciting was to have a special tour. We got to go with the senator and get to go and see every little secret areas. Even we got to this one balcony, and it was just really it makes the foundation of our government makes it more solid to be able to see vivid places where members from the past sat, and they had little plaques on the floor, and so that was the good part. The part that was stressful is realizing that as a county where we depend so much on federal funds, the realization that, yeah, we do have saving and people want sometimes things, but we need to be careful because it'll take a while for things to settle down and be able to keep receiving those funds. And I'm a believer that we're gonna benefit from what's happening in Washington right now, but I think we had to give me the realization that we have to be careful with our funds because some of us, we don't know which funds are going to continue to come our way. I also work with as a commissioner for San Juan County. I'm a member of the 7th County Commission, and under that we get to work with the Navajo Nation on the road and also on the water